Hey guys, this is Jenny and I'm going to share the first video I'm doing for the Crafters Workshop design team. I've done other blog posts that just had step-by-step photographs for my layouts and projects, but this time I thought I would do a quick video, a very quick video, just using a couple of the smaller stencils and just a white piece of cardstock and kind of making up my own pattern for the title and a little bit of embellishment. So the first stencil I'd used is the You and Me doodling template. It's just a little nice scripty die or scripty font, and I used some distress ink and misted that on there. And then I decided what I wanted to do was have one stencil on each side and my photograph in the middle, and they were all kind of about the same size. All of these stencils, these smaller ones, fit into the 4x4 4x4 sleeve, so they're around that size, even though they're sort of freeform and not, you know, a block. Some of them are, but these two I chose were not. This stencil is called the Scribbled Rose, and it's really neat, sort of freeform shape that I used a gold embossing paste on, and it just came out beautifully. I picked these colors kind of based on the picture, which has a little bit of a peachy tone and then this gold from the sunglasses that I'm wearing that are sort of reflective sunglasses. So that's kind of what led me to try to pick these colors, and I just thought it would be nice and simple to have a straight line. I'm always trying to think of something where I can, if I needed to travel and take a few things, and I thought this would be a great way to take a couple small stencils, a little tube of, you know, mist or of ink, and, you know, like these 6x6 paper pads. I used two different paper pads. This one is a My Mind's Eye, and the other one is a Amy Tangerine, and they're both matte prints. This one is just a regular matte print, so it's got a little bit of like a yellow and sort of a mint color in it, and then I layered it with another piece of sort of this vellum tracing paper. I wanted to use a little bit more of this, but I thought it was too orangey, so I ended up just cutting off a couple of the corners and sort of making faux photo corners that I put underneath the edges to add another little pop of color. And to kind of divide it up a bit, I decided to also use another piece that I found in that same paper pad of Amy Tangerines, and it's this sort of doily and paisley pattern that's sort of ombre peach and hot pink, and the colors went absolutely perfect, and it really tied in well with that Scribbled Rose, and it reminded me of that so much that I thought it would be a great idea to just use that Scribbled Rose or some other ones and make your own pattern paper by misting or inking that all over your whole piece of paper. So that may be something I try in the future. I did end up deciding to use this larger 12 by 12. It's the Believe script, and I used two different inks from Avery L that I've never used sort of with a distress applicator like this, but they worked beautifully. And there's like an apricot color. I don't know the colors names exactly, but there's a sort of apricot color and then a darker terracotta color, and I just used the terracotta color kind of in the middle to darken that little part up a bit, just as a border at the bottom. I really wanted to use a mint color, this cracked pistachio, somewhere to tie in that matte print and have another contrasting color, but I didn't really want to have it at the bottom. I didn't want to take away too much from this sort of middle row of the main photograph and title and all. So I went ahead and decided to go ahead and layer the picture up with those pieces of paper that I'd cut, and I mounted it with some foam adhesive and this small gold this small gold clothespin, and just to hold it together. I did end up using glue or adhesive to hold the photograph down just to make sure it stayed in place, but I thought that little clip was a nice little addition. Like I said, I tried to keep it really simple. I just wanted to just highlight those two pieces and then have the the photograph in between the two and some journaling, and it'd be really just simple. It's hard for me to do that because I love embellishments and I love adding layers and layers, but I tried to hold back a little bit. So I just tucked those behind to make very small sort of tie-in for the colors, and then I adhered that photograph on the back, and then I used the other sort of pieces of that paisley paper in the opposite corners. And then pop the whole thing up on pop dots. I usually keep a container of baby wipes or wipes, paper towels or something next to me, and I just very quickly wipe off my stencils while I'm working with them, and then usually go back and wash them all a little bit more carefully to try to make sure, especially with the embossing paste. I don't always wash the ones that with just an ink. I usually just wipe those off. But with the embossing paste, you really want to make sure that you keep it, you wash all that off, because it'll get really hard and kind of stuck on there, and then you risk having not as much of the pattern of the stencil actually show up, especially with some of the smaller designs. So this is how I'm storing my stencils in this just a 12 by 12 binder, and I have different size sleeves with a piece of black cardstock in between it, which has worked great because then I can really see the patterns and see the name or the number of the stencil down in the corner. So this is the final one I decided to use. It's a 6 by 6. It's called Mini Life Tidbits. I will have all the stencils and their numbers linked down below so you can see which exactly ones I used and have a link to where you can find those. But I used this Cracked Pistachio Distress ink on the little man and woman stick figures, and it says together, and then in the opposite corner I used this sort of splatter, it looks like it's love written sort of in a splatter kind of ink, which went well at the end when I decided to use some different inks to splatter over the entire layout. So I thought those colors kind of pulled it together a little bit and added a nice sort of third contrasting color to the other one, so it wasn't too boring. So after I pull off 5,000 pop dots off the back of my photograph and I adhere that, then I go ahead and kind of just finish it up. So this is pretty much the way it's going to look at the end. I did take some, just for a little bit of texture, I took some gold thread and layered it underneath where the photo would be. It's hard to really see in the video. You can see it in some of the stills, but it just adds a little bit of texture and kind of tied that gold into some of the ink and the embossing paste I used there too. So alright, after I get that all stuck on, then I am going to just grab a date stamp. It's actually a phrase date stamp that I've had, and some dark gray ink. I didn't really want to use black. I did end up using black ink, but I just wanted it to be a little bit subtle. I didn't want to cover up too much of that stencil at the bottom, so I just stamped the date there at the bottom. And then I decide to go ahead and write just a little bit of journaling underneath the photograph. This was from a trip we just took to Washington, D.C., and so I just wanted to, I mean, there wasn't anything, we weren't anywhere super exciting, or it wasn't any big event. We were just eating, but it was, one of the last pictures that we had taken on our trip, and the weather was actually really nice and we were sitting outside, so I just write a little bit of journaling there underneath that photo, and then I used a black India ink and a beautiful luscious gold Liquitex ink that I absolutely love, and just dropped a bunch of splatters kind of all over it, sort of diagonally too. That's that gold Liquitex paint. I mean, I could just almost want to eat it. It's so pretty. And then some darker black India ink for a little bit of contrast. And that is it. You can see the stills here and the final product at the end. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure you check out the link below to the blog post on the Crafters Workshop and all of the stencil information at the end. Thanks a lot.